and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to this week's Sketch Sunday and to 30 Days of Sketches Revisited from Christy's Beautiful Life, all of the series, and we randomly pick a sketch. This week it was my turn, and we are revisiting Series 3, Day 14, with this fun sketch full of hexagons, and it's from Christine Davidson. So you know I love Christine's sketches, so that was fun. And I love hexagons, so yay. Now I'm pre-recording this on Thursday because Crystal sent me her video, the link to her video yesterday, and she said she went rogue. And I never take a sneak peek at Crystal's videos or layouts, but I really want to this week, so I figured I better get my layout finished, recorded, and done so that I can take a sneak peek and that it wouldn't influence me. Now, however, having said that, I don't know if just her using the word, because I don't know whether I went rogue or retro or a little bit of both. But one thing I can say for sure is I went hexagon happy and a little hexagon crazy. But in the end, I kind of love this layout. It sort of makes me smile. So I'm using cardstock now. Originally, I had some white cardstock out, but I really felt that everything was just sort of, I don't know, disappearing or a little bit blah on the white cardstock, and it probably would have needed some mixed media on the background, and I didn't really want to add mixed media to the mix of all of the patterns that I have here with my hexagons. So I went to that sort of avocado green, which was so popular in the mid-'80s for our appliances. So that's why I say it's a retro. Is it a retro photo? It's not vintage. I don't think 1984 is vintage, not heritage, but a little bit retro. And so I went with a little bit of a retro color cardstock on here. And then to get my hexagon, I have a hexagon punch, which is this size, but I wanted larger and I wanted some more hexagons. And I'm going to say one thing. I did a lot of research over the last few days on online stores to see if I could find some hexagon dies, and for some reason they don't seem to exist. If anybody has a good link to a set of hexagon dies, could you leave me a comment down below, because that is something I really want. But in the end, there's always a way. So I just went on to internet and I Googled hexagon outline. I found a fun outline, imported it into sort of like a little table thing on my computer, and printed these out and then used them as templates. So like I just sort of put my paper on top and then cut around. And I found these 3 sizes, which I used. I think I would have liked a bigger one, but when I was playing on my computer, I wasn't quite sure what size it was going to be when I printed it out. So when I printed it out, I didn't want to waste, so I just used this. But I'm going to go back, and I think I'm going to make an even bigger one. So I guess if I don't find dies, well, there you go. We have templates. So, therefore, you can see that what I did is I got some patterns out. Some of them are scraps. This is from my 5th in Monaco. This is from a layout I did, I think, on the weekend. This is some Stampin' Up! Paper. It's a gorgeous... Yes, see, I used this on actually last week's Sketch Sunday, which was also from 1984. So there you go. I seem to have a little bit of a pattern going, where I used this side of the pattern paper as my 2/3 on my 1/3, 2/3 design last week. So I used this paper, and then I had this lovely bit from Celebrate that I had used on the top portion of last week's layout, and then a few little scraps that I just had sort of lying on my desk, and I cut out and punched out a whole bunch of hexagons, and then went way way overboard compared to the sketch. This one, of course, is much, much smaller because you could tell this would have been a whole like hexagon to take the photo. And since I didn't have that, I wanted to create a pattern that would act as a mat. So I basically just went hexagon crazy, inked my pattern paper with some vintage photo, and then inked all of the hexagons so that they would just sort of stand out a little bit. And it gives a little bit of an illusion of dimension, I find. So I got and I played around with this. I must have played around with this pattern for probably an hour, but I had fun doing it, piecing it together so that the patterns would be arranged in a pleasing way to my eye, and then the sizing would be arranged a little bit like a puzzle. So I got the central area down, matted my photo, and the red here is a very, very last minute addition because I was trying all sorts. I was going into the sort of pale corally, peachy colors, brown. The green, of course, I felt, would just sort of fade into the background, so I wasn't going to use that against the background, but I didn't want to use it against the photo either because it really gave this already almost sepia-type toned photo. It made it look a little bit queasy. Can a photo look queasy? Anyway, so I didn't like that. So I played around and then I came up with these two mats, and I wanted a larger mat in the background, and I tried a variety of colors that sort of matched, and then I really just went with this sort of darker red, and that was it. I loved it. But then when I had that, so I've got some foam in between this layer and the red layer, and then in the back I did not put foam. I just put a very thin layer of cardboard, so it gives a little extra dimension but not too much, and it gives a shadow. Once I had that red down, I felt I needed a little bit more, so I just punched out 3 hexagons in that same pattern paper and popped them up on foam and arranged them on top of my pattern. So I got that down. I got my July 1984, and then I was thinking my title. I decided on birthday celebration, and it fit beautifully here. And I love adding that little bit of gold in there because this is not a brass or a brash gold, but rather a nice metallic, but almost with a little bit of a brown tinge to it. So I loved it. And I put that there. Now, having that there, of course, left me with a rather awkward space above and below. So that is where I found the Vicki Boutin puffy stickers, and I just went a little bit to town, filled in a bit of the diagonal here. I put a heart, a little puffy circle here, 2 little hearts which sort of close off this awkward area, another little circle here, the arrow pointing to birthday celebration. This was my mom's birthday. And this was one of my first apartments, I think. I'm in my mid-20s here. And an arrow pointing to the birthday celebration, an arrow here pointing to the photo, and then an arrow here pointing to July 1984. Another little puffy heart down here. So not a lot of embellishment, and in hindsight, I should have done a little bit of journaling here. Now that I have the gold color shine here, that's not what I want. So I think I'm just going to put a little bit of journaling here. I mean, it wasn't a special birthday or anything. It was just a birthday, and it's just a fun photo. And I've been cleaning out some of the photos and finding some older photos lately, and felt like scrapping them. So it just needs a little bit of journaling down here to just say which apartment I was in. The date is already there, and that we were celebrating Mom's birthday, and we had been down to the pool at my building at that point, and that's about all there is to say about this layout. So there you go. So Rogue, not really, I don't think. I just added a lot more hexagons than are on the sketch, but I think you can see where the inspiration comes from. Retro, maybe. Please make sure you pop on down and see, of course, what Crystal got up to. I'm going to go take a sneak peek today. And, of course, don't forget to also go over onto Instagram and see what our lovely friend Amber did with today's sketch. And, of course, Christy's channel is always linked below so that you can go and find the playlist and choose a sketch. If you feel like joining us and playing along, please tag one of us either over on Instagram, link us to your video here on YouTube if you do, or tag us over on Facebook. And we'll see you again next week. Thanks for being here. Bye.